Agnes Ayres, Part 3. When a Girl Loves, set during the Russian Revolution, got Agnes's great notices and survives in the Cineteca Italiana archive. Exhibitors Trade Review said Agnes Ayres is at her best depicting the woes of the ill-starred heroine. Bluff, which featured Agnes in this absolutely fantastic costume, was another drama about a fashion designer and also got Agnes good reviews. It also survives at the Library of Congress in UCLA. Tomorrow's Love, released in 1925, was Agnes's final Paramount film and got her good reviews, this time from Moving Picture World. What's interesting to note is that I have not found a negative review really about any of Agnes's roles, except for the rude review about her appearance in The Chic, and the other review that claims she wasn't acting in The Affairs of Anatole. But in all of her starring vehicles, where her name was above the title, all I have found about Agnes are raves. It is interesting to investigate why Agnes left Paramount in 1925. We know that she married Manuel Ricci in 1924, so that could have been why. Film historian Richard Griffith argued that she quickly realized her marriage was a mistake and returns to films, but she was married to Ricci until 27 and gave birth to their daughter Maria in 1926. It could probably be that whatever relationship she had with Jesse Lasky ended when she got married, and she may have chosen to walk away from Paramount, but not from acting altogether. She appeared in Her Market Value, The Awful Truth, and Morals for Men, all in 1925. The first two films were released by Producers Distributing Corporation, which was related to DeMille and Paramount, so it may have been an extension of her contract there. Morals for Men was made for the Poverty Row studio, Tiffany Studios. All three pictures got great press, and Moving Picture World gave Agnes and co-star Conway Turrell an excellent review for Morals for Men. It is here that Agnes probably decided to retire due to her pregnancy, as she gave birth to her daughter Maria Ricci in 1926. She was asked back in 26 to reprise her role as Lady Diana Mayo, now the wife of Ahmed the Sheikh and mother to their son and United artist, the son of the Sheikh, reuniting her finally with Rudolph Valentino. It unfortunately was his last film before his untimely death. Agnes consented to make a brief appearance in the film, with a title card in the opening credits that said, Agnes Ayres has graciously consented to return to the screen to resume her original role as the wife of the Sheikh as a favor to Mr. Valentino and the picture. What a credit. According to Richard Griffith, the son of the Sheikh survives and is also available to view on YouTube. This brief venture back in after a short retirement made Agnes realize that she wanted to go back to acting full-time, according to Richard Griffith. Sorry, I said that sentence in the wrong order. I have a lot more information going forward about Agnes's later life and career from Griffith, who, to be frank, was not very kind in his discussion about Agnes and several other celebrities from the silent era, so I'm going to take his facts with a grain of salt. Agnes soon was separated from Ricci and tried to break back into the movies. She found work with Stan Laurel in Eve's Love Letters, a comedic short that benefited from having a glamorous leading lady as its titular star. Here, Agnes plays Eve, a lovely wife that receives a note from a blackmailer threatening to turn her love letters from another man over to her husband. She hatches a plan with her zany butler, played by Laurel, to get the letters back. Comedy ensues. As you can see here, it's a wacky change of pace for Agnes. She's more of a Lucy Ricardo type character, but holds her own in the physical comedy with Stan Laurel. It's just interesting that Agnes was clearly willing to do anything and is no longer the glamorous wife of the Sheikh or the glamorous lady going through melodrama, but the lady that is running around and making all these mixed up, silly situations happen, and doing it convincingly. Agnes made one last silent film a year later in 1928 at Raleigh Pictures entitled Into the Night. Other than a synopsis on TCM, who quotes Film Daily that it was a drama about a woman trying to prove her father's innocence when he's arrested, I can't find a lot of other information about it. I can only assume the production company was probably Poverty Row, as was her next film, her talkie debut, 1929's Bye Bye Buddy, which was released by Hercules Film Productions and appears to be more of a vehicle for her co-star Robert Buddy Shaw. Agnes was then cast in Columbia's first talking picture, The Donovan Affair, that was released in April of 1929 and saw her reteamed finally again with Jack Holt, and also co-starred Dorothy Revere and William Collier Jr. She may have gotten this gig probably out of her friendship and working relationship with Jack Holt, but I'm not sure. The film was a murder mystery and saw Agnes playing Lydia Rankin, a wife out to get some money that gets mixed up in the murder and is probably a suspect. The film, although a talkie, used Vitaphone-like soundtrack discs where the dialogue was recorded, and unfortunately the dialogue discs are lost, but the film itself survives and is available to watch on YouTube. Take a look at Agnes here. She coolly enters the room and turns on that Agnes Ayres charm and displays her excellent range of emotions again. It's clear that she is up to something and out to get something, and reminds me of her character in The Affairs of Anatole. She truly could do characters with hidden agendas better than anyone else. The New York Times review didn't say much except that Agnes was in the film. Variety, though, said that her voice sounded okay, which I'll take to mean that she was perfectly suited to be a talkie star. Unfortunately, The Dawn of an Affair was Agnes's last starring film role and the last film role in general for another 6 to 7 years. Why did she abruptly stop acting? According to her obituary in the New York Times, Agnes lost all of her money in the 1929 stock market crash. Apparently, she also found that she had fewer and fewer opportunities in Hollywood for any film roles and starring roles, and decided to make a clean break and look for acting elsewhere. She then started touring in various vaudeville shows before trying to break into theatrical acting via Broadway. According to Richard Griffith, Agnes went on foot from casting office to casting office, reminded booking agents of her screen record, confessed her utter lack of stage experience, and was asked for a chance to start at the bottom. She would do anything. Her grit and persistence made her a byword among stage people, but they yielded her not even a walk-on. While the story is truly heartbreaking and also is inspirational, Agnes truly loved acting so much. She wanted to keep working and was so determined to do so that she walked around Manhattan looking for work on the stage. She was not a diva about it and did not care if she had to start all over again as an extra, a bit part, or even in the chorus. She just wanted the chance to work and do what she loved, and it was frankly ridiculous and absurd that no one would give her that opportunity. Her story during this time period closely resembles that of Cassie, years later, the character in a chorus line. Frustrated by her lack of opportunities in New York, Agnes returned to Hollywood, where, according to various sources, she worked either as a real estate agent, a store clerk, or both. Remember, she still had Maria to support, probably more so now that she was a divorced mother. I also found another source that said that when she divorced Ricci in 1927, she stated that he failed to provide for her in the divorce case, meaning that he may or may not have been providing child support in this case. At this point, in 1936, an opportunity suddenly arose for Agnes. For the 10-year anniversary of Valentino's death, The Sheik and The Son of the Sheik were reissued in theaters, and since they did relatively well, Agnes was asked to go on a national speaking tour to tell stories about her work with Valentino at various locations. I'm assuming that this tour and the reissue of the movies brought her back into the public's memory and the memory of Hollywood producers, too. She began getting bit parts or uncredited roles in movies, including Small Town Girl, Maid of Salem, Midnight Taxi, and Souls at Sea, all released from 1936 to 1937. She made her last film, the comedy short Morning Judge, with Edgar Kennedy in 1937. Again, Agnes was excited just to have the chance to act again and did not care that she was having to start all over and work her way up from the bottom. Morning Judge, although a short, was a starring role for her, and it may have well been that her bad luck was finally beginning to change and she may have begun the slow and steady trek back up to reliable work as a character actress. But unfortunately, it was not to be. The failure of Agnes's career and finances, fueled by her lack of success, caused her to sink further and further into despair and then depression. In 1939, she was committed to a mental health facility and lost custody of Maria to her ex-husband and died from a cerebral hemorrhage at that facility in 1940 at the age of 48. More than anything, I think that Agnes truly died from a broken heart. The thing that she loved most in the world was acting, and when it was no longer possible to do it, she simply could not go on. It's a tragic and utterly devastating story of Hollywood, and it's also extremely infuriating. Here's an actress with so much talent, so much ability and versatility, that it was ridiculous that more folks would not give her a chance to make a more firm comeback in the 1930s. Here's also a rare example of a movie star that was so humble and not a diva that she was willing to do anything just to keep working and making a living at what she loves. Agnes was truly one of the victims of Hollywood. Her daughter, Maria Ricci, went on to be a successful model and sometimes actress, and posed for these beautiful pictures, and passed away in 2009 at the age of 83. Additionally, Agnes's legacy has lived on when she was awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and through the chefs at Hollywood Kitchen who have made Agnes's chocolate mousse recipe. Check out their video on YouTube. So we are left with the question, what on earth happened to make Agnes's talkie stardom fall so quickly? My only hypothesis is that due to her loss of her fortune in 1929, she probably had a lot to take care of and deal with, which made her unavailable to keep making films. When she finally did get her money matters taken care of, she suddenly saw the opportunities that she once had gone, even though she had been a major Hollywood presence as little as 5 years earlier and gotten good notices in her big talkie film, The Dawn of an Affair. It's a true shame that Agnes wasn't able to have more of a talkie career, especially considering the fact that she would have loved just to have been a part of anything, even if it meant she was an extra or uncredited. Agnes's dedication to her acting and flat-out refusal to stop, even when her stardom waned, is truly an inspiration and is one of the most courageous stories I've ever heard about a Hollywood star or actor anywhere. Agnes stopped at nothing and walked herself up and down Manhattan looking for acting work, refusing to give up. I have no doubt that she's probably was instrumental in organizing her speaking tour in 1936 about Valentino. She was not going down without a fight, and a fight is what she gave Broadway and Hollywood. While her story is a true tragedy, at least she has left behind the legacy of her exquisite body of work, and although we are only able to see and appreciate a little bit of it, we are lucky to have what we have. I highly recommend watching The Sheik, Forbidden Fruit, The Affairs of Anatole, and The Donovan Affair to see a real class act exhibit her talent. Thank you, Agnes, for your courage, determination, charisma, talent, and humility. Next week, join me as I investigate Douglas Fairbanks, one of the biggest stars of the silent screen who only briefly kept up that stardom in the talkies. Thank you for joining me. Have a great rest of your day.